say half a mile from the school, and they still walk together as a school. Another program in Chicago at the time when they were really beset with ICE raids, where a walking school bus picked up students from families who literally didn't were scared to venture outdoors to get their kids to school. And there are also programs for riding bikes to school. So there's a wide range of programs, and I encourage you to look at some of these. Also, there's a detailed tutorial of 8 parts with video lessons on how to set up one of these programs. And also, there's a link to a story on the expansion of this program in APS. So please put your questions in the chat, and our speakers will answer them at the end. And also, you'll get the link to the recording within a week. I was really fortunate to be able to join the Whittier Wilson APS Walking School Bus in person one morning a couple of weeks ago. So I'm pleased and honored to turn this session over to the community school coordinators, Kelly Davis from Wilson Middle School and Leah Garcia from Whittier. So welcome, and let's
Oh,
get going. Thank you.
thank you, Nancy. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Well, just want to express my gratitude for 350 and for the opportunity to speak to a more human aspect of climate justice. But essentially, we know that climate justice is inextricably bound to racial equity and poverty and et cetera. And so, what Nancy really spoke to is channeling an activist spirit. And when we have community involved in their own environment, it is a great, great balm to apathy. So thank you all so much. I'll be toggling between myself and Leah. So right now have a case study that we're going to be presenting on, and we're assuming that the audience, so the literacy is just a basic understanding of a research model. Leah and I do a lot of sociological work. That's our role as community school coordinators. And so we're going to go deep into the research. But our case study, our working title is Albuquerque International District residents use alleyways for walking buses, the safe routes to school and community school case study. So you can see in the orange box, this is what we're going to go over today. But essentially, we are honored to speak on behalf of the Safe Routes to School Committee. We actually have some committee members that are joining us this evening, so thank you for supporting us. And our goal is that students arrive to school safely and on time. And we achieve our goal through 3 ways. We have a walking school bus, we have alleyway activations, and we advocate for pedestrian infrastructure. And community school coordinators, it's just a basic planning model. So we bring in partners from the international district, we analyze data, and based on the data, we plan interventions. And what's so awesome is when we chair a council, we have the stakeholders, but because they're residents of District 6 or they're New Mexicans or they have this EMIC insider understanding, with community participatory methods, when we present the data, they're analyzing themselves. So we have this level of equity in our research that I really support. So I'm going to play 3 videos, and then we're going to go through who, what, when, where, why. But when you say walking school bus, this is just a video of us walking in Albuquerque's International District. And then next, so we focus on a walking school bus, and then alleyway activations, where we transform underutilized alleyways where the residents have easements because the alleyways used to be used for utilities. And we convert them into safe pedestrian spaces. I do want to go back and show you this comic, which is, don't all these decorations scare you? No, I walk to school in the International District every day. I'm not in the chat, but those of you maybe you can just give like a thumbs up or a yes if you're familiar with the narrative of the International District in Albuquerque. It was colloquially referred to as the war zone. And we'll get into this later with the root cause analysis, but it's the most dangerous place to walk in the United States. So this is a video of an unactivated alleyway right by Jack and Jill Park. And Nick Rohrman, who works for Bernalillo County, we are pointing out hazardous trash.
Hmm.
So you can see dangerous trash, used needles, fires, just garbage in general.
Hmm.
Right. So then I'm going to share a video of an activated alleyway where we're engaging the school children to be the architects of transforming their own streets. So these photos that you see to the right and our co-architects of space are Whittier elementary students and Wilson students and partners that sit on our Safe Routes to School committee, activating an alleyway. So put the before in your mind and then see what they can really transform into.
Hmm. Awesome. Hmm.
Thank you. So I so appreciate that you opened with a land acknowledgement and a phrase that I learned from Gregory Cajete, who is a professor in the College of Education in Indigenous studies or in the ways that we can more indigenize our education systems, which are, he calls it the geopsyche, which is essentially if I were to cut myself in half, what are all of the places that would come out of me? Our geopsyche. And so when you think about the internal geopsyche of the international district and the places and the streets and what it means, because streets are public, so they belong to no one or everyone. And so this type of activism is very important because it's changing the geopsyche of these children. It's changing the narrative that are found within our students. And yes, so, and then speaking further to that, J.B. Jackson, who's one of my favorite geographers, he's a New Mexican. He says roads don't lead to places, they are places. And so it's through this breathing of sentience into roads and into passageways, which essentially are the connective tissue, right, around an entire area, is how we are creating a lot of revitalization. So thank you. And I'll hand it over to Leah now to do the who, what, when, where, to gauge us more into our presentation. So go ahead, Leah.
Thank you, Kelly, and hello, everybody. So, so the who, what, when, and where. The who for community school coordinator researchers. This means that we're constantly working into gaining trust and in being inclusive in our decision making. Um, Making sure that we're engaging all of the stakeholders in our community councils. We hold these community council meetings at the minimum twice a month. And we both have somewhat different schedules for that, but if that interests you, we can share that information. We lead collaborative vision setting. So within these council meetings, we're very collaborative and solution focused. So we want to look ahead and make sure that what we're practicing is in alignment with APS and community school models, but also with the environment in which we are working in. And for us, that is our international district. And then these systems that we bring into the schools as community school coordinators, when we are as community school coordinators kind of like a bridge between the community and the school system. And so when you're thinking about the school system and the community, we take a look at both systems, see where we can find the balance to bring the needs to our students met. And these needs can look like anything from food insecurity to rental support to clothing support to even like possibly mental health support if we're needing to give out some, not mental health, but make the connections for the families to find those resources. Um, and then the what is for us the daily walking school bus. We also participate in the International District alleyway activations, which Kelly spoke on, and also with our walking school bus and our focus of pedestrian infrastructure. So this can look like something that the students and the council accomplished earlier in our school year, which was a signal and a hawk signal that will later be installed too. So we have part of it, and then the lights are coming in a little bit later. But it's a really big success for the council and the students to see their work being implemented and having impact on their own community. Um, this started all the way back in 2023 with Kelly's community council that I've spoken on a little bit earlier. This council took survey from parents about students' ability to be in school, to learn, to attend, to be on time, and just be ready for their day. And a lot of the parents reported at that time that there were issues inside the environment that were causing the students to come in dysregulated. And so with this continuous kind of like issue, the council decided to move forward in creating and planning a walking school bus. The implementation started in 2024-25 school year. And so now this 25-26 school year, we are now doing this on a daily basis. The where you've been hearing us talk a lot about is the international district. And for us, that means we are number one in pedestrian fatalities in the United States. Excuse me, sorry, something popped up on my computer there. The International District has the deadliest stretch of highway. This came out on USA Today, I believe, who published this article that supported all of this as well. They reported that out of the United States, we have the highest pedestrian rate. And if we look at this for our students specifically in the International District, you will see that they are in the heart of that issue with the 1.5 miles and a mile radius around the schools. These radiuses are busless. It is policy that students within that busless radius walk to school or provide their own form of transportation. And we all understand that elementary school students have no one else to rely on but the adults around them to get them to school. And so, with that being said, in the international district, many families are facing already financial limits. And so sometimes those limits do not allow for cars. And so we see a lot of students in this radius walking with us to school. We have generally 20 students average for Whittier students, and then somewhere between 2 to 5 with our Wilson students, which is a significant growth for them because last year we had none. So we're very proud of the ones who participate. But that's the who, what, when, and where. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it on back to Kelly, who I believe is going to take us into the theory.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you. All right. So you can put in the chat if you're familiar with the 17 principles of environmental justice. So access is a sociocultural phenomenon, and environmental justice is racial, class, and gender justice. And when we look at the built environment around the International District, there's a heat bubble because there's less of a tree canopy. And what we're actually working on as well with the city of Albuquerque's 5 Blocks for Life, it was part of a participatory budgeting initiative. And the students are transforming our stretch of fence on San Pedro. And we're going to plant trees that are there to help increase the canopy. But also, when people are driving, when they see trees, they immediately slow down. But theory is the lens at which we approach our data. And so I am kind of giving it a larger frame, and then I'm going to go into the root cause analysis. And that's because within a community participatory model, we create our own theory. But it's deeply grounded in the 17 principles of environmental justice. And essentially at Wilson Middle School, 1 out of every 3 of our students are English language learners. 1 out of every 3 of our students has an individual education plan that's either associated with a disability or they're a gifted population. The new phrase in APS is direct services, but it's a way, I guess, to destigmatize poverty in that I am receiving direct services. So that is the new measurement. So in APS, the average is 4 out of every 10 students receive direct services. And at Wilson, it's 7 out of every 10. And so when we speak about environmental justice and access and what it means to have the joy of having a safe place to walk, that is critically linked into the 17 principles of environmental justice. But of course, I will just give 10 seconds to have people read 12 and 16. Nice. And then here is our route. There is a QR code that's in there if you would like to volunteer with us. And also, I know that that'll be dropped into the links. So next, going into the theory. So the local why. So here is the given, right? Whenever you do a proof, it's like, what is the given? What is the environment that we are walking in? So I'm just going to read the given, which is International District streets around Wilson Middle and Whittier Elementary have encampments, stray animals, unsafe adults using drugs, inadequate infrastructure, and other examples of urban blight. So the system is working the way that it was designed to, because the International District historically was a redlined neighborhood. And so us walking with these students is a corridor. It's like a safety corridor where we can bring access just by occupying the streets, where a lot of people walk anyway. So the given in terms of our theory, many people walk in the ID. It is hazardous to walk in the ID. Hazards create ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, and trusted adults can change the environment by walking. So that in itself is our theory. And so that is the lens at which we are approaching our interactions within the International District. And I also want to just speak to 3.3. And so with the analysis of the council, it turned out to be that the environment was preventing students from learning well, in terms of they would show up dysregulated from their walk to school. And that was within our scope of control, but we needed to get more student voice. So we had student focus groups from Wilson Middle School students, and we continually gather data. And it was our middle school girls where it was the most alarming in terms of experiencing gendered violence, or being offered drugs or being exposed to human trafficking. And so, again, us occupying this space directly changes adverse childhood experiences, right? Because when the built environment lends itself to all the intersections of discrimination, and when we can change that through occupying, it's a pretty radical act. And I'm very, very proud of all of the people that have helped us accomplish this. So that's our theory. So it's rooted in principles of environmental justice, but then of course the local why at 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now I'll hand it over to Leah to talk about our methods of analysis.
Okay, so now more into the data. Our data is collected on a daily basis. I think that's an important context to this. So our community school initiatives all are driven by data. Just like Kelly was saying, that survey taken from the parents drove her Wilson Council to choose a walking school bus as their focus to address the issues that parents were reporting. So when we look at the data that we're going to be looking at here, we call it street data. So every day after each walk, we collect this street data, and we put it into a Google form that we have created, and then through another, what is it? It puts it into a sheet, a Google sheet. It's all Google.
Yeah. Yeah.
We live in Google in APS. But anyways, in that Google sheet, we then collect it and put it out for a weekly report to the Albuquerque Police Department. They help by scanning our areas in their transition from morning to night, and then we then later in data collaboration send them weekly reports of our data. And so right here on the right side of your screen, you'll see these are all of the things that we collect and that we send out a summary of every week. So we summarize how many days we had. We let them know our critical masses for students and for just in general. We give them the number of safety concerns. We summarize what those safety concerns were. We provide encampment information and the locations for them. We also send those on a daily basis to 311 as well when that comes up. Sending that information into 311 specifically reports it to the city, who then in their data also has it available. And so if you ever report those, please report with 311. And then we also take in good things, qualitative stuff like our glows. This is actually a really fun part of the debrief, and I think brings a lot of really uplift into the debrief as well, where we talk about things that go well. That could be like a visitor, like Nance becoming a part of this is a glow. You guys giving us the opportunity to present this and share this is a glow. When we spot APD in our route and they're helping us, or they bring us some escorts, that's a glow. We provide them a photo. We try to take a photo every week from the back. We don't share the children's faces. That's very important. And then we send them this dashboard over here to the left side where you see that 3306 or 3306. This is when you get the opportunity to look at the slides later, you can dive in deeper and make those numbers larger for yourself. But there are numbers there that give you percentages of the environmental concerns that we summarize. Those percentages are the frequency of a percentage of frequency of them appearing on our walks. And then down below, there's a list of months and year, and those summarize how many, what is it? I just lost it, environmental safety concerns we come across.
Mhm.
And so you can also see that big 3306. That's our current critical mass. As of that one said August of 2025. Is that correct? So
Yeah,
that's
that's
actually
when we
quite
started.
old data and it's definitely gone up since
Oh,
then.
oh no, Leah, may I add a
No,
correction?
go ahead.
Um,
Yeah.
a critical mass is students plus adults, and the first day of our
Yes.
walking school bus was August 7th, 2025. So we've had
Oh,
this
okay.
many people walking with us. We've had 3,306 safe passages or participants.
Mhm. Yeah, correct. Sorry, that date threw me off. But yes, so as of that date, that's how many safe passages we've had. Can we move into the next slide?
Yes.
Okay, so then looking more closely at the data specifically, we have created some coding around it just to provide those percentages of frequency that you saw earlier. So the walking school bus data collection and weekly APD report. Again, we're driven by data. Coding our data started with collaboration in our county, the Bernalillo County. Specifically, they have a program called ABC Community Schools Partnership. And this is a partnership between APS and the county to support the community school coordinators like Kelly and myself. And there's a lovely woman there who is an Excel genius, and she helped us create this dashboard. And so we've sorted the information into themes and codes. We're actually beginning to do even more work on that now that we can go into more later, but it's in the process of, so it would just sound like gibberish if I explained it now. But we can see here on the right side of the screen the themes. So these give us some examples, right? The theme here would be route change or waste or unsafe interactions. Each of these things have different codes that they are supported by. So a route change could be route change because of waste, right? And so that is going to support the route change. And then we will also have a code for what the waste was. And then you can also see that there was an unsafe interaction. And so somebody during that walk experienced sexual harassment, which supports the unsafe interaction. And then up here are actual listed environmental concerns that have been coded. You can see number one, dumpster can still on sidewalk of Ross and Cardenas. This would lead to a route change because it's occupying the sidewalk and the students are not able to pass through it. So then they are rerouted onto the street around the dumpster and back onto the sidewalk, causing an environmental concern. There was, let's see, two individuals were engaged in a sexual act partially covered behind a wall of Madeira. I remember that walk. And that was, again, an environmental concern, exposing the kids to things that they do not need exposure to. And then even a sleeping person on a corner like here on Southwest of Madeira and Anderson, while a sleeping person maybe to you or I as an adult would not be an initial environmental concern, maybe we would pass by without concern. But for the students, this person is in a situation that is unsafe for them. And then if a person is experiencing an already unsafe situation, they are put into a flight or fight survival mode. People in survival modes tend to make impulsive and unsafe decisions. And so that's kind of like a really long way of realizing that these students know that this is an unsafe individual because of unsafe circumstances they are in. So without, in a complex way to say that. And then go ahead and we're moving on into the next slide. These are some alleyway activations that we have already done. Actually, you can see here. I will go ahead and turn it over to Kelly. I don't think we decided who was talking about this piece, actually.
Rest your voice. Thank you,
Thanks.
Leah. So last school year we had six activations and we painted 10 murals. And we had one middle school summit where the students led restorative justice circles. And this year we have three activations planned. The invitations are on our slides. We hope that this Thursday, if you are welcome, if you are welcome, if you feel so inclined, from noon to 2:30, we're going to be activating the Wilson Trailway and painting a mural. And this year we led a tour led by our student council members of Wilson, associated with Melbourne, the Center of Relational Learning, as again a case study of what it means to breathe place back into a neighborhood. So I'll have Leah speak to our goal, because when we started this, of course, our goal was to have students arrive to school safely and on time. We were a successful pilot program in transitioning from 2 days to 5 days. And these are the primary impacts. Again, and we were focused on safety in the environment. And we do have a lot of secondary impacts as well, which I know Leah will speak to. So take it away, Leah.
Yes, thanks. So our primary impacts, it would mean, I would say that we are successfully meeting all of our goals. And so the primary impacts in which we are making are like students arriving to school safely and on time. We are seeing that happen, and I don't believe there has been a day yet where they haven't been on time. We've had some close calls.
Yeah.
But we haven't yet, so that's good. We're very happy about that. Our data collection has been very successful for us in helping us receive grants. Students are increasing their senses of belonging, not just in school, but also in where they live, through the alleyway activations and being able to use those alleys safely. Students learn a lot from us about traffic safety. We have different signals that cause us to pause. One whistle, the conductors, the people holding the stop signs you can kind of see in the pictures, are called conductors, and they whistle once to pause, and then they whistle 2 times to tell you it's time to you're ready to cross, and the street is ready for safe passage. And then families have been very supportive of this. Some of them walking with us, and some of them going out of their way to drive their students to the walking school bus instead of school, just to have a student participate. It's been very successful as an alternative form of transportation for our students. For students who do not have transportation at home, this has become a reliable form of transportation for them to get to school every single day. We see some of those kids, rain or shine, even in the cold, cold days, they show up with their coats and as ready as they can be, and they join us. It's teaching exercise and daily activity to the students. And even the adults who are participating, I definitely notice a difference when I went from walking 5 days a week down to 2, and having to increase my gym input. So that was noticed. And the neighborhood has become very engaged. Our neighborhood associations around us are just the best. They have been so supportive in walking with us every day, in opening their homes to us to have students participate in alleyway activations. And we couldn't have asked for better neighborhood associations to support us. And then even community members, some of them haven't been from the actual neighborhoods in which we participate, and some of them come in from surrounding neighborhoods too. And then it teaches a lot of bonding. We have students from elementary age and middle school age, and now even high schoolers who participate in what is called the morning mentorship. The high schoolers have the opportunity to provide us the service of the languages that they speak natively,
Yeah.
their native language, which is Dinka and Swahili. And some of our students speak this, and since we do not know this, it is very appreciated and it's become a really great bonding experience for the kids. Um, Going on into the next one, we're going to start looking at secondary impacts. The next slide, please. Yes, thank you. And so I'll kind of go, we've kind of looked into some of them already. With language support from our high school students. We've talked about already the family engagement and families going out of their way to meet us. And then we are also connecting with our neighbors. So people who see us on a daily basis through their window or while walking their dog are introducing themselves to us, introducing their dogs. And so now on a daily basis, we say hello. And even the other day, we were talking about we haven't seen dog Chato in a minute. Where is he? He's
Yeah.
usually out and about showing off his latest collar or whatever. His owner buys him a lot of stuff. And these relationships in the community are constantly on a daily basis growing stronger. And these connections are just, I don't know, they're just really beautiful to watch unfold. Moving into the next slide. Some more secondary impacts. So we have had some of our community members write into the Albuquerque Journal, and that has created so much engagement for us. And it just kind of puts out there what our students are also experiencing. And then we have advocacy for a broader interest for the students in the international districts. The students are learning more and more about just their community, about how they can be involved in it. And it doesn't have to just look like going to a community center or serving food to an individual. Often, when we would talk to the students about community service, they're like, are we giving food to someone?
Yeah.
Especially our elementary students. They
Uh-huh.
saw community service as giving food. And there are so many more ways to be involved in your community than just food services. And creating a sustainable model that supports the community, even financially. All of the conductors on the walking school bus are either involved in the neighborhood association, are either community members who learned about us through kind of these kinds of conversations that we have in different networks. And so, it's been really cool to see all of the individuals that we meet and who joins us. It's been a really fun experience. We also have a lot of positive police interactions, which is really great in the international district. Unfortunately, there's a lot of violences that occur in the area, and with that, the students often see people being arrested more frequently than they are seeing people being protected by the police. So when they escort us, they learn that the police are here to protect us, that they are not here to just come into our neighborhood and take people out, but rather they are a support system and an integrated system that they can rely on for protection. Um, and then also city leaders have come around to recognize the walking school bus as well. People have become involved from Counselor Nicole Rogers in District 6 all the way to Commissioner Barboa and other individuals who have even joined the walking school bus with us from time, or even the mayor joined an alleyway activation, and that was really nice. Despite an injury, he came in on his crutches. It was really great. And then do we have one more secondary impacts? I don't
No,
think
that's
so.
it.
Mm-mm.
Thank you, Leah. And I'll just speak to there was a walking school bus culture at Whittier previously. However, it atrophied because it relied on teachers doing more. And so we pay community members who receive safe traffic training from the city of Albuquerque to walk in their own neighborhoods. And so I just wanted to speak to that. So please save the dates. This Thursday, we're having an alleyway activation The requirements, if you do participate, is that you participate. You will be assigned a group and you'll rotate around with the group. We have lessons from Project Feed the Hood, where they do seed winnowing in the alleyway. And then we're going to paint a mural. So that's what's happening. And we welcome our fellow climate justice warriors to join us in the alleyways. And just here are some pictures of the walking school buses. And we're at 7:17, so we want to give time to questions. And I will get out of my screen sharing mode. I'm gonna stop sharing. Thank you for your time.
So we've got a number of questions, and I have a few comments, but I want to first just the most important one is the Vicky Estrada Bustillo says, "Can you talk specifically to volunteer needs and opportunities?" That's the one that we didn't need above all others, I would say, right? We can get these other questions in a minute, but you spoke to some of that. But if you want to, there's the link in the chat. But I think she's wanting more stuff, and Vicky, you can join in if you if I'm not expressing this right. So yeah.
Well, hi, Vicky. Volunteer needs and opportunities. We do have a City of Albuquerque volunteer website that you can register with. However, just shoot me an email. It depends on what your capacity is. I can see Dee and Charlie nodding along. So they are planners with us. They share their brilliance, but they say we don't want to walk every day, or which is fair because they're retired people and they have other things to do with their mornings. However, there's so many different ways to be involved. And so it's just how you want to share your brilliance, essentially. But just holler at us. And I can also add you to like an email chain if you're prepared to maybe receive a lot of Safe Routes to School emails from me and Leah. Did that answer your question, Vicki?
Absolutely. I'll reach out to you to kind of share what my schedule and skill things are, and so I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Okay.
Vicki.
So Lori was asking, is this only to school or also home from school? And what's the philosophy there?
Take it, Leah.
Yeah, so currently, yes, this is only in two schools in the sense of this specific model. APS did receive 2.7 something money. But that is also going in to implement it into other schools. But it's important to recognize that this model was created in the International District and specifically to these schools because it was run by a council initially. And so therefore that council saw the needs and built it up to that school. And so APS will be taking this idea of a model and giving it to other schools to also attempt to fit to their needs as well, to that a walking school bus can support, whatever those needs look like. And then as far as what was the other half of the question?
Oh, well, thank you for speaking to the larger implementation of two. I don't know if you answered it philosophically or she is asking, do they get a walk back home?
Yeah.
Oh,
Lori,
correct.
is that what you
That was the second half of the question.
Yes.
So, no, we do not walk them home. Going home comes with some complexities that walking to school does not. When we pick up the kids every morning, we know where they're going to school. When we are walking them away from home, we might have some stops along the way, but then the kids will still need to walk the rest of the way home alone unless a parent is there waiting for them. The complexities come in is, will the parent be there on time? Sometimes they're not. Will the kids say things like, well, my mom said it was okay for me to go to this kid's house? We don't know. Maybe the mom will ask us, can you allow this kid to go with this kid there? That brings in another complexity of of taking charge of another kid's whereabouts that is not ours to be in charge of, but the parents alone. And so because of the complexities of getting kids home is so difficult, and also to bring it right back around to what our initial goal was to address the issue of kids coming to school dysregulated and unready to learn, right? Going to school safely and on time. And this does not also include going home on time, whatever that looks like. It may look different for each individual, but for each kid, school does start on time, the same time, every day.
Hmm.
I hope that answers your question. Let me know if I went on for too long and confused you.
Okay. Carol had a question. I can read it, and Carol, if I don't get it correctly, you can speak up. She asks, what has happened since the mayor formed the task force to interact with the WSB, which I don't know what the WSB is, but maybe Kelly or Leah, you know.
Yeah, walking school bus. Well,
Oh, okay.
thank you, Carol. So tomorrow, we have a regular Safe Routes to School council meeting, and the mayor's task force is going to present their action plan associated with advocacy, associated actually with DIV, who's here on the call. So essentially, our street data presented a need that we felt that it needed a more organized effort from the city of Albuquerque. And so they're going to present their action plan associated with our data, which is really exciting, because one of the critiques that we received was we're counting all of these environmental safety concerns. But how are we measuring the city's response to those? And so the city is coming in and helping us work on our categories, our data coding systems, to measure their interventions. And so I'll pause there, and maybe even Dee and Charlie, if you want to speak to that. I don't mean to put you on blast, but you're here, Carol. So did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, good. Dee, did you want to speak to that at all?
I'm looking forward to hearing what we gave the city a report card and a rubric as a way of raising their grade. We gave them an F, and but they have in their defense said, okay, we want to raise our grade, and they looked at the rubric and they've taken issue with a couple of things. So I'm looking forward to hearing Angelica's report tomorrow. They immediately got to work on it. And so I hope to learn. We have some consistent, our goal is to have the streets clean before the children start walking at 7 in the morning, not as, call 311. That's been the mantra. And that is after the fact, and it might take the city 3 or 4 days, or it might take a week. And so the kids walk day after day after day with commercial dumpsters on the sidewalk or needles and so forth. And so we were confronting the city and saying after the fact is not acceptable. We need a plan to get this clean. So we're going to be working on proposing some signage, and we've asked for a city representative to be at our meetings, which we have in Angelica, and we have asked for one from the Albuquerque Community Safety. Have we gotten one, Kelly?
John Dodd, and yes, we have.
Good. At first, the city responded with police officers, and we didn't really want police officers. We wanted Albuquerque Community Safety. That's their business, is keeping the community safe. And so we really want their engagement in our planning Safe Routes to School meetings.
Thank you. And Dee and Charlie Ivy have been on our community school council and now our Safe Routes to School council. So thank you for allowing me to put you on the spot, Dee, and speaking.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Steph. Oh, I see the question, but I'll let the moderator.
So So there's a couple more pending questions. Jim, I'll get to you in a minute, but Steffi had the question, have the alleys stayed upgraded or do they decay back to their former status? That's a good question. Yeah.
So I hear sustainability in your question, and I'm happy to speak more to the model. So because the alleyways are private easements,
Mm.
what has to happen is there's a block captain and you get a majority consent of the homeowners of the alleyways, and then the neighbors come in and they clean up the dangerous trash first. And then City of Albuquerque Open Space donates free mulch, which is leveled out. And then it, essentially, because they've been activated, we have eyes on the alleyway. And something that's really lovely about being invited to have the students be caretakers of the alleyways is we have this continual engagement. It's kind of like adopt a highway, but and in one of the alleyways, the Wilson Trailway, our the landowner or the block captain has reported a 75% reduction in trash. And her alleyway was previously used for human trafficking, and she hasn't seen any signs of human trafficking in the time that she's been there. So,
Yeah. Carol also asks, with stronger community relationships, do you get reports of adverse events children experience walking home?
yeah, I mean, Carol, thank you. I think that you point to a big gap that we have where we're saying, oh, the streets aren't safe. We provide this safety, but only during this certain time. So I appreciate your critical question. But with stronger community relationships, do we get reports of adverse event children experience while walking home? With I would say the trend would be with more eyes on the streets and more visibility of the students. They take the same route back. Within our pilot program, we had a route that was only for Wilson students. And our neighbors that live on the route reported seeing students walk back the same way. So hopefully, if the streets are clean and we have more eyes on the streets, but that is a gap in our research in terms of reports of adverse events children experience walking home.
Jim just wanted to know, was there any, I guess maybe at the beginning, student or parent pushback at the beginning of this? Were people pretty open to the idea?
Yeah, I just was interested. I mean, this is so exciting. Unfortunately, my kids are long gone, so I can't participate at that level. But I'm hearing a lot of implication of enormous amount of trust between parents and the program. And
Right.
so I was curious how you built that trust, how that came to be.
I thank you for asking that. I think that parent engagement models have to change, where you can say that the school is an open door, but some parents don't feel comfortable coming into the school, or there's language barriers. And so essentially, what the walking school bus does is we have a presence in the community every day that's associated with the school. And in the beginning, especially with our refugee and our newcomer population, it was our consistency that ultimately gained trust because we were there every day. Can I answer your question in an anecdote? Okay, so we have one family who now walks with us every day, and their kids wait for us and they just open their door and the kids run out. But when we first started walking, mom would walk with baby on her back and the three kids across the street from us. And we'd be walking, we'd wave, we'd be overly friendly, like saying hello. And we just started parallel walking next to this mother. And then eventually she crossed the street and would walk behind us, just making sure that we were safe. And then she started walking with us. And then her children were allowed to walk with us. And now when we walk by, the kids open the door, they leave the door open, mom waves at us, or we say, "Oh, you don't have a jacket, go back inside." And so we're welcomed into the threshold of their home. And so it's taken a long time to build that trust, but I really believe it's the consistency and people seeing us in the neighborhood.
Hmm. Awesome. Dee, do you want to say something else?
Just
You're on mute.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you. That's a wonderful. I love the anecdote. Um, yeah, I'm a parent and a grandparent, so I understand how valuable these little creatures are to us all, and you don't just because someone says we'll take care of them. It takes more than that.
All right, Dee.
Um, when you were talking about the afternoons, children encountering things, one of the things that we're working on is signage as far as infrastructure. And as Kelly and Leah showed earlier, the map is a consistent route every day for the kids to walk. And so we are proposing some signage in the International District that I live in Nob Hill, and there's great signage around Jefferson and Monte Vista Elementary, Jefferson Middle School, that does not exist for our kids in the ID. And so we're proposing new signage. Kelly and Leah have not seen this yet, but I'm going to present it tomorrow if I get a chance. This possible, can they see it?
All right.
It's backwards, but yeah.
Oh, it's backwards.
Oh, nice,
That's
Dee.
good. Yeah.
Anyway, it would be really unusual. And one thing that we're
A
pushing,
bus stop, right?
well, it's a route.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't see,
yeah.
but it's got
Uh-huh.
kids and it's got
Yeah,
a route.
I love it.
And if we get that marked, which I think we keep pushing to do, then the children, and so what would happen with our city councilor, she is already working with the homeless folks in ACS also. They'll have a route that says to the unhoused folks, you can't sleep here. You cannot drop your needles here. You cannot. We're going to clean this route up for the children and have a child safety priority for these students. And so hopefully that will increase their safety walking home when no adults are with them.
Hmm.
Thank you,
Uh,
Dee.
yeah, that's fantastic. Steffi, you were asking, do you draw seniors? Just maybe talk about who's volunteering. I had some interesting experience with that, so I'm interested to hear what you say.
Or just in the neighborhood, people who might, live on the route and just like to watch them go by every day.
Oh, hmm.
We do have a couple of windows where we know that some of our elders aren't able to walk, but they wave at us from the window, which is really nice. And when we initially were in our early phases, we actually applied for a community grant through AARP about this, because when you make the streets safe for the vulnerable population, such as children and elders, it's more walkable for everybody.
Yeah.
And who can realistically cross a busy street in 20 seconds? We know that a kindergartner can't. And so, and through presentations like this, we get the word out. I would say that we're saccharine and we're very friendly, and we do get the message out with neighborhood associations that please, come walk with us. But it is to me, it's a natural pairing in terms of retirement and walking and reinvestment into the neighborhood. So, Leah or Dee, or Charlie, would you like to speak to that? Or do you feel like, no? Okay.
I have just a couple of things I wanted to share from my one time. But the first one is just a shout out to District 6. The leadership there, Nicole Rogers and Sarah Kirksley, just really supporting this and being advocates. And just, I certainly got the feeling that, because I live in that district too, but further west, that they're paying attention, they're listening, they're wanting these kinds of things. So having a city councilor who is paying attention to the district and really not just the real estate or the business, but the people in the district is really a great thing. So that's my first one. The second thing is that this is a community, these are community schools, and just the idea of community schools. So when I went in, I went and met the school, and there's a room at Whittier, and they not only do they have, it's a place where there's lots of desks. If you've ever been in public school, all the different, teachers that don't have any place else, they're parked there. But there's also a rack of extra jackets and t-shirts, and there's bags of food for the kids to take home on the weekend, and there's snacks and there's things. So it really is not just about walking to school, but also all the other things that kids in this district need that are there and available. So thumbs up for that. Another thing I just wanted to mention was I was just really interested to watch how kids came to the school bus and they're walking, and there's an adult there that just didn't seem all that engaged. And then I watched, and pretty soon one of the kids that sort of picked that adult as their favorite, and they went over and started talking to that adult and walking with that adult. And there's certain kinds of pairings that go on where they just feel safe. Or a little older girl who was noticing all the pets along the way and the cats in the window, and she started talking to a younger kid. So you're getting these personal connections and relationships and things that were just really neat. There was I don't know, maybe a high school graduate who was there and just sort of seemed not very engaged. And then pretty soon I saw, oh, he's talking to these kids. He has this interest in videos and cartoon characters and stuff. And pretty soon he's talking to them and they're having this deep conversation. So just things on the surface. And then as people walk there, you can see that they're really getting engaged and really just finding the person they feel safe with, and just having that time. And just one other thing that I just wanted to say, Steffi put in those numbers of 40 years ago, 60% of elementary kids walked to school, and now it's down to 15%. And so there's specific issues in the ID that this program is addressing, but this need to build community, to have time to socialize. My son teaches fourth grade in Watsonville, California, and he just, they just come to school and they haven't had a chance to talk to their friends. They haven't had any exercise. They haven't had any friend just to stabilize themselves. And I don't care whether you live in the International District or you make $200,000 a year. Still, wherever you live, those are important things to start a great school day. So this is not just a program for neighborhoods like the ID, but really has benefits throughout, all kids. Speaking as a retired kindergarten teacher in APS. So I just wanted to mention those things because I was lucky enough to be able to go and see and just observe some of these interactions. And if, I know you all see them every day, but if you haven't seen them, it's really neat. It's really, really neat to see these connections being made, and doing it every day is key. And that's a heavy lift to get from once in a while to, so I don't know, and you might even want to speak to that because the regularity of it is really important, I would think.
I applaud your passion, Nancy. It just radiates from the screen. So thank you for all the things that you said. That was our largest critique when we had the pilot, which was we bookended. So Mondays and Fridays. We know that we have the lowest attendance rates on Mondays and Fridays. And so that's when we started. And the biggest critique was why isn't it every day? We can't get into the rhythm unless it's every day. And it just boiled down to funding, which is how are we going to be able to pay people to walk every day. And that goes back to the sustainability model, which, as a case study, our model of paying community members to walk is going to be implemented at APS. It probably, and every school site is different. However, that idea of giving volunteers the dignity of being paid, having the money go back into the community, and the secondary effects, because it is every day, because we have that street data, and because consistency is so key. We're very lucky. We're very lucky that it's every day, and some days are harder than others. But there is a real investment that we see with the adults and our growing groundswell surrounding the movement. So I feel like the days of not knowing if we would have enough adults are over, and I'm really grateful for that. Yeah, maybe that's too hyperbolic, but I truly feel that. I feel like there's so much momentum. So yes. Jim, are you raising your hand?
Yes, yes, I am. And this is just your last comment was a segue. As we near the end of this evening, I would like to hear from both Kelly and Leah about the future. Where do you see this going in a year, 2 years, 5 years?
That's a really, really good question. I do see the model within Whittier and Wilson remaining because of the way the neighborhood associations and the surrounding community are invested and involved. Um, with, and again, kind of like speaking with APS, there was a really great deal of work done in collaboration between our walking school bus, APS's capital master plan, and other organizations to receive that New Mexico Department of Transportation funding. So while that funding is going to be implementing the community paid model for the walking school bus, it's really going to come down to other neighborhoods like Whittier's neighborhoods, like Wilson's surrounding neighborhoods to step up and see that through. And I don't know, we are not part of the planning process that is pushing the model forward. We are just overseeing our own model here at Whittier and Wilson. We will not be part of that planning process inside of APS. And so how they will move that forward, we're not entirely sure, other than some basic parts of our model. Will they really invest in the community the same? Will the community feel invested the same? That's to be determined. But for us in the international district, we do hope to see this model be picked up maybe by Emerson, or maybe by Van Buren, or maybe like Kirtland, who's also just down the road on Gibson. These schools also are facing similar environmental concerns. And so I know that their students are in need of the same walking school bus. But what that would look like again for them to implement would also be the same idea, is the communities around those specific ones walking students and being paid to do so. So we do share this info with the surrounding community schools, but then it also talks to like the capacity of those schools. Each school's community coordinator has different capacities and availabilities. So again, it's very community and surrounding resident driven for it to be a true success. So if Kelly and I didn't have the support from our community members like Dee and Charlie who are here, this walking school bus would be quite nothing. So really, we could plan this until we're blue. But if nobody shows up, it's nothing. And it's really the residents and the community members who are pushing this forward. So it's up to Albuquerque. It's up to Albuquerque to support them.
I just want I just want to say that one of the things that the stuff that's been going on in with ICE in Chicago and Minnesota has really shown is when you have a structure in place and a community that's ready and some crisis hits, you are you are ready to go. And if you don't, you're starting from behind. So it's such an important thing for our lives. It's just really, really important. But Dee, you had another question just about middle schoolers.
Well, I think Kelly has some really cute anecdotal stories about middle
Yes.
schoolers and has an idea in response to your question about where is this going.
Mhm.
Uh,
Thank you, Dee. So again, this is a research experiment. And so when we first planned our route, we looked at the population density of students along the route, and that's how we based it. However, when it comes to maturation and becoming a teenager, the biggest shift behaviorally between elementary and you see it from sixth to seventh grade is my peers are the most important thing to me. And I go to my peers when I'm under stress. I don't go to adults. And
Yeah.
so we have at a particular intersection, we text a mother and two sisters come out. They walk near us, but they won't be seen with us because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing at a student level to all walk together versus elementary students that really they trust adults. And so it was the case with the pilot, and it was the case now where, and we do have middle school students that walk with us, but just in general, it's a social taboo. And so the way that I would like to see the middle school section work, and what's so nice is it's a boomerang. So we leave from Whittier, we walk, we pick up Wilson students because school starts at 8 o'clock, right? And then we leave from Wilson, we go to Whittier at 8:40. That's why it can be a boomerang. I would love if for the middle school section, there were lighthouses. I call those adults with, they would stand on the corner and provide a safe passage. So, because when we did surveys with students, the presence of adults makes them feel safe, but walking with students makes them feel like, or walking with adults rather, they're too cool for that or they've grown out of it. And so that's how I would like to see the program evolve. I'm just seeing smiling and nodding. We're talking about middle school and emerging teenagers. And also just like how I would like to see the program grow. The most beautiful thing is how the community now leverages the walking school bus to hold other entities accountable. And so that is a point of growing that I really would like to see scaled and replicated, and that the international district cares deeply about its students. And I know that that will be true moving forward and changing the narrative, which is we have good, caring people that want to be involved. And truly, the community has the answers for the resources it needs. It's just about organizing. And that's what we did. We can walk, we can watch each other, and we can help. So,
Yeah. Before I get to Vicky, I just want to acknowledge Albert Lee. Looks like you did the same thing I did. You went on the internet and saw all these wonderful stories about other programs, bike buses, and other kinds of things. It's a proven thing. I mean, it gets carried out individually, but there's lots of positive experience and stuff. Did you want to add anything to that, Albert, or? I'm just gonna, if not, take note in the notes. There's some other links besides the ones that I added about other places where this is successful. Vicky, you want to just ask your question? Kelly was answering there, so
Sure.
we're having your own conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I just thinking of those other international schools that, it seems like this would be, you guys have done so much work already that they could benefit if, you were able to target who are those spark plugs there that would be the right people to invite to participate in what you're doing to then, like, I mean, I really appreciate what you're saying of, you know, it's their community and their schools to do it their way, but to see the successes you've had, I would imagine it seems a much less daunting as something to do when they see how you all have done it. And I just wondered about that if it's easy to identify. I mean, sometimes schools don't have the people that are maybe those spark plugs don't have the time or you haven't been able to identify those, but I just wondered in terms of growth and how this would grow in the future, if that's an exercise you've been able to do.
I see your question, your statement, Steffi, about Albert. And so Albert, want to give you time to speak. And the Safe Routes to School Committee, we voted to author our case study as an example. And then, but the case study will be held in the community. And part of that will be, because it's so specific, we really do hope to expand this all over the international district, but that's our hyper local space. And so, yes, like we're authoring a case study of what worked for us. And again, like the culture is already there. So it's just a matter of building off of it. And every school other than Wary, because it's on the base in the international district, is a community school. And there are community school coordinators.
Yeah, I was going to ask that too. How important is it that it's a community school? That's really important. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to give Albert another chance to unmute himself. There you go.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to send those links out just as an informational line item, but also wanted to congratulate Kelly and Leah for a wonderful program, and I do hope it does continue and expand to other schools in the Albuquerque area. Also, just wanted to mention that that transportation and community schools are an initiative that is currently going on in the with the 100% Bernalillo Thrives program, which some of you may know about, and that might be an additional venue to continue the growth of the program. Thanks.
I don't know about that. Somebody want something, Bernalillo? Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
It's an initiative that started about I want to say about a year and a half ago or so. They have 7 or 8 major themes that they are trying to improve in Bernalillo County, like schools, education, housing, transportation, food access. There's a couple other ones that I don't remember off the top of my head, but they do welcome a lot of public input from the community, and every year they have a summit, which is which is open to the public, where they convene a lot of the stakeholders and community members to be involved in the process of various actions and programs to try to improve conditions in those major themes. So Kelly put that link in the chat, and that's a good way to learn more about the program.
Cool. Thank you. It's just about time to go, and I just want to second what Dee has put in the chat. Deep thanks to Kelly and Leah for all this work and for the community people who are here tonight. And we're really proud to have featured this, and I hope you share this conversation with other people. And this, not only will people receive an email with the link to the recording, but it's also available on the 350 New Mexico website. All of the speaker series that we've had. So you just look for the speaker series and you can share it with anybody, even if you lose the link. So we're really pleased to have sponsored this. And thank you to everybody. Really, just fantastic. Really great. Jim, thanks.
Yes, and thanks everyone on the behalf of 350. Just I wanted to do a quick plug for our speaker series. It's monthly except during the summer, and we have a wide range of topics. I think next month we're still working on it, but it will be about passive solar heating homes. And so we have a whole range of topics. Some are a little wonky, climate kind of stuff, but some are very down to earth, like this afternoon, like this evening. And thanks everybody for coming.
Yeah, put your name on our mailing list. We don't abuse it. Jim will send you the updates. So thanks, everybody. Thank you very much. Wonderful evening. Be well.
Good night. Thank you.
Night. Yay. Wow.
That was fun.
That was really great. Really, really great. Hi, Maggie Seeley. Neat to see you here. So, Blaine,
All
how did it work? Are you still here?
right. Blaine is early to come, late to leave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you
Yeah,
see?
I'm having a hard time finding my my mute button to unmute. Yeah, no, that was great. It was great.
Yeah, and it's I don't know if you could do this in the East Mountains, maybe in some of the closer areas, you know?
Oh, this is such a different place, whole different set of issues. But it's wonderful to see
Absolutely.
where it's needed there and really yeah, just the community. It's all about the community.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely. Definitely. And what a great thing they're building. If you have a chance to go volunteer, I definitely recommend it. It was really fun, really neat to do. And
I'm
they have
yeah,
those
it
alley
would
things
be.
too that you can do just to see it in action.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was really great.
yeah. This is
All
good.
right.
I need to go, but
Yep, me too.
thank
All
you.
right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
And thanks, Jim.
Yeah.